I'm Anil Kumar, and on request of my viewers, here are two questions on limits at infinity. You need to estimate the following limits. Limit x approaches infinity, x divided by square root of x squared plus 1. And then limit x approaches minus infinity for x divided by square root of x squared plus 1. You can always pause the video, answer the question, and then look into my suggestion. Now, before I begin to solve these questions, you need to know one thing, and that is, what is square root of x squared? What is square root of x squared? Remember, in square root, we don't really have to write 2 here as written. We could actually avoid it, right? It's a good practice not to write. So what is square root of x squared? Is it x? If you think that is correct, then it is not really correct. Square root is always positive, right? So this value is actually absolute value of x. Remember that part. And second thing which you need to remember is, what is absolute x? Absolute x is x if x is greater than or equal to 0, and is minus of x if x is less than 0, right? So this is very, very important to understand. And let's begin from here to solve these two questions, right? So the first one here is limit x divided by square root of x squared plus 1, where x approaches positive infinity. Okay, so we can write this as limit x approaches positive infinity, x divided by, so within square root, we'll take x squared common. We'll take x squared common, so we get 1 plus 1 over x squared, right? And then we could simplify this further. We can take limit x approaches infinity. Now, square root of x squared is absolute x. I'm going to take it out. So we get x over absolute x. And within square root, we have 1 minus 1 over x squared. So I hope this step is absolutely clear. Now we are approaching positive infinity, which is definitely greater than 0. So we'll replace absolute x with x, okay? We'll replace absolute x with x. So what we get here as limit x approaches infinity of x over x times 1 minus 1 over x squared. Is that clear? Now you can cancel these x's, right? So what you get here is limit x approaches infinity, and you get 1 over square root of 1 minus 1 over x squared. Now if x is approaching infinity, 1 over x squared approaches 0. So what you really get here is 1. Do you see that? 1 over square root of 1. So that is our answer. So I hope the steps are absolutely clear. You can follow similar steps to do part B. You can pause the video, answer the question, and then look into my suggestions. Now let's do part B. Right on the same lines, we'll write limit x approaches minus infinity, x over, again we'll take the square root x common, and then we get 1 plus 1 over x squared, right? So we could write this as limit x approaches minus infinity. We'll take it out, so it is an absolute function, right? So it's absolute x. So till this stage it is absolutely same, right? Now what happens? Now we are approaching negative infinity. So if you're approaching negative infinity, absolute x is going to be negative x, right? So let's replace this with negative x. So we get limit x approaches negative infinity, x over negative x. Do you see that change? This is very important to notice, right? 1 minus 1 over x squared. And that results in minus 1. Do you see that? Limit x approaches negative infinity, and what we get here when you cancel minus 1, 1 over x squared. And when x is large number, 1 over x squared will be very large, 0, right? X squared is very large, 1 over divided by large is 0. So you get minus 1 this time. Do you see that? So that is how you're going to get the solution of this. So we have two horizontal asymptotes, right? So when we are talking about limits for infinity, we are actually discussing horizontal asymptotes. Right, so if you really sketch this graph, what you will get here is kind of like this, that you're approaching plus 1 and minus 1 as x is approaching positive or negative infinity, right? If I substitute here 0, so it will be 0, right? So the graph will be, okay, approximately, I'm not really getting into details of this, but kind of like this, where it approaches 1 as x approaches positive infinity, right? And it approaches minus 1 when x approaches minus infinity. Is that clear? So that is how we are going to get the graph of this function. Now if I change this question to limit x approaches positive infinity, and let this be, so we're just changing this question to fourth root, let's say fourth root of x to the power of 4, whatever, right? Let's say like this, right? Then same steps will be followed and you can get similar answer. But I like you to practice with this kind of a question. So it could be minus infinity, x approaches fourth root of x to the power of 4. This could be any number, right? Doesn't really matter, since you have seen that number over x squared is going to be 0 when you solve, right? So as a practice, you can take up these two questions. I'm Anil Kumar, and I hope you find it very interesting. You can always share and subscribe to my videos. Thank you, and all the best.